The 100-meter dash is the main event of track and field, and just about everybody knows it, which is why the Olympics and the World Championships invite all of the world's fastest men to prove themselves in one race. Because honestly, that is what determines who is really the best. Usain Bolt has already made it clear that he is the fastest man to ever put on a pair of spikes. And on this channel, I've already made my thoughts on that topic abundantly clear. Because Bolt is so much better than anyone else has ever been in the 100 that it's almost unfair to compare them to his standard. But this video is not clickbait, because I love sprinting just as much as everyone else. But I'm tired of us dancing around the real conversation. We know that Bolt is the best, but the debate really begins for all the rest of the world's fast men, because there is no consensus on who really is the next fastest man that the world has ever seen. So I'm here to settle it once and for all. A virtual race between all of the world's fastest men. One race on one track, controlling for as many variables as we possibly can to get a legitimate answer on where everybody ranks among the best in history. And remember, you don't have to agree with me. That is what the comment section is for, and I try to read them all. I have to start off with this, because Michael Jordan said, you can't compare athletes from different eras. But I'm here to say, that is a lie. Because in track and field, we actually can. That is what the clock is for, as well as the wind gauge. But the problem is, running fast is not the same thing as doing it in the one race that you actually need to run fast in. So to determine who gets invited to the ultimate 100-meter showdown, I have to lay out a few ground rules. So to qualify for this race, we're only going to count your performances in an Olympic or World Championship final. Nothing else you did is going to count. That is what made Usain Bolt special. Not just the fact that he broke world records, but he did it when the entire world was watching on the biggest stage. Because if you can't do it when the lights are on and it's time to perform, as far as I'm concerned, you can't do it at all. So I'm apologizing in advance because Asafa Powell is definitely not making this list. But he is not the only one to get cut from the starting list. Of all the men who have ever broken 980 when legal, Trayvon Bromell, Ferdinand Omanyala, and Nesta Carter never ran that fast in a championship final. I'm not saying that they are not fast, but they're clearly not fast enough when they line up to race against other fast people in a race that actually matters. So no, they are not getting invited to the party. But beyond that, you only get one performance that I am going to consider the fastest race you've ever run in a World Championship or Olympic final. And the time you ran is not exactly the time that you're going to finish with in this race. Because remember, I said we got to make everything as fair as possible. So your time is going to be converted using the Brian Mack Sports Coach Calculator, which will control for the wind gauge, as well as the altitude when you actually ran that race. That means Usain Bolt's 958, because of the wind and the altitude, is going to be converted up to 9.63 seconds. And spoiler alert, that is still faster than anything anyone else has ever run under any conditions. So here's the truth without Photoshop. A race between all the world's fastest men, lined up against each other and running at their absolute best. Like Eminem said, you only get one shot at this. And of course, we all know who's going to win the gold. But the race for silver, bronze, and everything else after it is wilder than you could ever imagine. As for who actually makes the field for this ultimate 100-meter showdown, I'm gonna give you the list from slowest to fastest. Because to get the final spot in lane 9, we have a battle between several men. The former world record holders, Carl Lewis in 1991, Donovan Bailey in 1996, Bruny Surin in 1999, and Fred Kerley in 2022. They all ran between 984 and 986 to earn a spot in lane 9. But the tiebreaker was simple. Donovan Bailey broke the world record and ran 984, and of course won the Olympic gold. So he gets lane 9. But lane 8 goes, surprisingly, to Noah Lyles for his performance in the 2023 World Championships. He ran 983 to punch his ticket. And yes, that means he belongs in this race. Believe it or not, only 7 men have run faster than that in an Olympic or World Championship final. But lane 1 goes to Lamont Marcell Jacobs for his Olympic victory in 2021. He went 980 to do it, and he's the only European man to make this field, representing Italy. So if nothing else, he's clearly the fastest European we've ever seen. But lane 7 goes to Maurice Greene, the man who was box office before Usain Bolt ever even started running the 100. He's an Olympic and world champion who ran 9.80 seconds in 1999. But edging him out for lane 2 is Justin Gatlin, who's an Olympic champion from 2004. But that's not how he made the list, because in 2012, he made the Olympic final again and lost. But he ran 9.79 to do it, and we all know who was in front in that race. But Christian Coleman also deserves to be in this race. He gets lane 6, because he ran 9.76 in the World Championships in 2019. Ironically, he beat Gatlin to do it. So technically, at least based on what the clock is saying, he is the fastest man in the game right now. And by now you can guess the last 3 names. Yohan Blake gets lane 3 because he lost to Bolt, but beat Gatlin in 2012, running 9.75 to do it. And Tyson Gay earns lane 5 because he showed up in 2009 to race against Bolt, the same race where he put down his world record that still stands now. Tyson still went 9.71, which is really, really fast. But he never won a world championship or Olympic medal after 2007 because Bolt was always in his way. And I know I don't have to say it, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Usain Bolt gets lane 4 because he deserves it. We already know he's gonna win, but what we don't know is who's gonna be next after that. And with the race about to start now, remember, there's no wind factors and no altitude advantages that anybody getting in this race. A competition between 5 American men, 2 Jamaicans, 1 Italian, and 1 Canadian. So here's the race as it actually would go down. Donovan Bailey would get blown out early and never catch up to the field, finishing in 9.89 seconds. But Justin Gatlin also wouldn't have a chance, running behind all these other fast men, finishing in 9.87. It's the same thing he did in the entire Usain Bolt era. But this is where things get interesting, because had we given lane 9 to Fred Kerley, he actually would have beat Gatlin as well, finishing in 9.86 seconds. But right in front of them is Yohan Blake, who's ranked 2nd on the all-time list, but 7th in this race. Or maybe he finishes in 6th, depending on how you look at it, because him and Noah Lyles both finish in 9.83 seconds. So you can decide for yourself who you think's gonna win that one. And the same thing happens again in the race for 4th and 5th, because there's a battle between the bald-headed men, Maurice Greene and Lamont Marcell Jacobs. They both finish in 9.81 seconds. So once again, you can take your pick. But there is no doubt about 3rd place, because Christian Coleman runs away from everybody else I just mentioned and holds them off, finishing in 9.79 seconds. A bronze medal in this field is a very big deal, but the man in 2nd place knows this feeling all too well, because Tyson Gay finishes 2nd in the ultimate 100-meter showdown, going 9.76 seconds to do it. His entire career as a professional sprinter, he doesn't even have 1 Olympic medal, and he's only got one gold medal in the 100 from the World Championships. In 2007, the pre-Usain Bolt era, which is conveniently 1 year before, the winner of this race figured out how to run the event. So after all that, Usain Bolt dominates the field, running 9.63 seconds, a full tenth faster than anyone else in history. But I'm pretty sure you really don't understand, because any of his races from 2008, 2009, or 2012 would still be faster than anything anyone else has ever done. What I am saying is Bolt only has to show up as himself to beat everyone else in history, running at their best over and over and over again. But that is why they call him Usain Lightning Bolt. So now we can finally end the debate of who really belongs on the list of the fastest men in history. Or at the very least, we have something legitimate to go off of. Because you don't have to like it, but the facts are the facts. Because to win in sprinting, you have to not only be the best, but also beat the best. And the men on this list figured out how to perform better than everybody else when the entire world was watching. I'm Coach Rob, and thank you so much for watching this video. And if you want to see more content like this, then please like and subscribe.